All right. I don't know what order these are coming out, but if I do this correctly, then we just got done speaking with Nalnish, and now we are with the second voice that popped in. In the Warpstone Cup, I am currently 1-1, one victory, one loss, and the loss is to this gentleman, Stingers. How you doing?
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
You're kind of my hero because back in the day, before War Lions of Krace were viable, now they're kind of viable. I see people besides you taking them, but there was a time when you were the only person taking War Lions of Krace, and they're my favorite high elf unit. So I kind of loved it, and I've been a fan ever since. So just want to let you know.
Yeah, they got that mass buff, and I was like, I mean, let me see what happens. And I took them on the charge, and I was like, you know what? I can work with that. And we had that clan war, or no, that was a faction war, and I was practicing for the Empire matchup, and me and Platy just discovered that they just absolutely eat Empire Knights, and then are super missile resistant, and that was when war wagons were super strong, so it worked out perfectly. A lot of people, I've heard some people be angry about how they get used in a shock role and they're not like an infantry mulcher like Things of the Woods, even though they're more expensive. Which, I mean, if they get stronger, I'm all happy about that, but I
Hmm.
like that they're at least usable now versus when they were in the pits for Warhammer 2.
And cards on the table. This is a joke. Don't worry. Cards on the table. I would have invited my clan's high elf representative, Black Knight, but the entire discussion would have been why he takes the same fucking build no matter what he's facing. And I don't think that's much of a video. It's Imric. Imric and a foot healing caster, two or three dragon princes, some spears, some archers. Repeat, no matter who you're facing. So, no, that is a joke. We have heard from Black Knight, and I try to spread out the content, and I keep whenever I do the tier lists, I keep getting my fellow NC members and Blood Penguin, and then I was doing the faction main interviews, and I got a bunch of the ODM guys, and it's like, you know what? We haven't heard enough from RTK, so we're scooping up RTK members for this, right?
Get that RTK representation.
Let's go. So let's start ourselves off. A matchup that it might be the most common matchup in the current meta because both of these factions are just under overpowered. So they don't get banned, but they do get played a lot. High Elves, Dark Elves. As a High Elf, how do you tackle this?
Yeah, that faction war where I brought War Lions was actually I got my butt kicked by Phoenix King in the finals of that in this exact matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I tried a bunch of different stuff in prep and it just wasn't going well. I was trying like Rangers, White Lions, War Lions, and you can go back. I got 2-0 to a meme build. Like he brought executioners on the second game against me because he was up one and got murdered. But after that, I was playing around and I realized I was missing a few key units. I think your Spearman and your Illyrian Reaver Archer really, really good for this build. That changed a lot. Can you see my build? I
Yep,
have
that's
it
why
up
we're on the
right now.
same side. I'm just sitting
Perfect.
there looking at your stuff.
So yeah, this build is um, all about playing around your spears. I'm on the mage. I have Life Bloom to get that heal across the entire army, and then Awakening of the Wood and Earthblood to heal the Dragon Princes and the spears, and then Awakening to harass any uh, Bleak Swords or Dark Shards. Um, I've also seen arguments for Flesh to Stone. I really like Flesh to Stone too, when you commit to the Dragon Prince engagements. Um, yeah, so uh, in this build, it's really critical to play around your spears. Um, Dark Elves have a lot of different advantages, whereas they can do kind of a wide archer range or a full-on rush with Bleak Swords and Witch Elves, or like a heavy cav build with their Dread Knights. Like, but I think High Elves equally have some good options. I've seen some builds that go all in on 5 archers and 3 dragon princes that I've liked a lot as well. And I've seen some cool ones that Charix has brought. I can't get this one to work myself, but he goes Larry double Phoenix and then a basic line of spears. And I think he brings a Sister of Avalorn as well.
Charix is weird though. Charix is RTK's version of Zyphos, where they take builds that, like, if the nameplates were off, you would know who's playing anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, he makes it look easy play that style. I tried it, I couldn't do it. This has been my most successful style. The Reaver Archers, you can just... The point is to harass and make the Dark Elf player uncomfortable. They are so clutch for their stats and shooting, and the light armor of the Dark Elves makes them really susceptible to shooting. So you go up, and if they slip on their micro, you get a quick charge off and you run away. But you really just light up any Black Arc Corsairs with like all 4 Reaver Archers. You can delete one before it gets to the front line. And then once they're there, you have your spears in kind of a box, and you keep them tight so that your Dragon Princes can hit their infantry without getting countercharged by the Dark Elf Cav. You're gonna lose if you let their Dragon Lord beat up your Dragon Lord, or their Cav beat up your Dragon Princes. So the win condition is really like whenever you take a fight, make sure you have a Spearman nearby to support that fight. Because you can heal the Dragon Princes a little bit, but you can't. You're still kind of down trading anytime you take those Cav engagements, which is the really tricky part about this build. I've actually lost this one a couple times recently, even though I am pretty confident in this build. So that's why I added in this Archer, because my Dragon engagements were going poorly due to how much more healing the Dark Elf side has with Soul Stealer. So I want this guy in there to poke and give me a little bit more support.
A little more oomph.
Imrik is also another good option here, so that you can just body this guy, but it makes it a little bit more expensive. I go back and forth, because I like the Imrik Warhorn too. It makes your spears trade even better.
What about Alethanar?
Let him burn the pits. You know, if Eltharion still had his Mistwalker's Barrage, I would so take him in this matchup. But they murdered his Mistwalker's Barrage again.
It spreads out so far. So far.
It is so on brand for CA to, do a buff for High Elves and then immediately take it away like a week later. I was like, why?
And then they released the Steam Tank and Landship and Thunderbarge, and they're like, let's marinate on this.
Untouched.
I'm not sure if these are broken, but Mistwalker's Barrage needs to fucking go. Yeah.
So I'm hoping they change that, because he would be a really cool addition to But the fun fact is, if you do not charge your Spearmen, you let them get their charge reflection, they will beat a Bleak Sword. So you just hold that line, and you have your Dragon Princes weave in and out of that Spearman line, and you're gonna get the fights. Since you're so mobile too, you can split off and use your Reavers to go for any Archer units if they go for the Archer style build. And since the melee defense of Cold One Knights is so poor, you can rear charge with your Reavers as well and really clean them up. So that's how I approach this matchup. I've seen a few other builds, like I said, about Dragon Princes and Tech lists that I think are pretty cool too. But yeah.
So what changes when you're trying to take on Beastmen? Another top of the table. Well, okay, not top. There's the top, which gets banned all the frickin' time. Kislev, Empire, Bretonnian stuff, and then Beastmen are just like Dark Elves and High Elves, right under it, but still really fucking strong. So what changes about fighting the Beastie Boys?
So Beastman is actually something that's getting more and more interesting with every patch. Like Zangors and Pestigors really, in my opinion, Beastman was easy win for you. And you just spam spears, you took a Terror Source, and then you had some countercharging the Reavers. Let me find my Beastman build.
My gin and tonic is
But
gone.
now with the Zangors and the Pestigors, like having decent infantry that you can't just rely on your basic spears anymore, really changes this matchup up, in my opinion. Like I've been running into some interesting builds where I've been getting my butt kicked. I would say it's more evenish now, and there's a lot of play on both sides. Wow, I don't think I saved my High Elf vs Beastman land battle build. Alright, bet I'll make it real quick. So I've been going Dragon Lord, but it feels a little awkward. And this is the other awkward part.
Why are there silver helms?
Yup, exactly. So this is the old build. This was before Tzeentch Great Weapons. I loved the armor and the melee defense of the Silver Helms. They hit hard, they could rear charge a Mino and do fantastic, and they kind of played similar where they wouldn't engage unless a Silverin Guard was there, and they would just do the rear charge. The 4 Reavers are simply there to prevent that obnoxious triple SE build, double Gorgon Jabber. Because in my experience, I couldn't get a wide archer line to work. Like they would just cycle charge me to death over and over again.
Makes sense.
But I found triple Reavers would skirmish them down effectively before all your Silverin were dead. And then I went Dragon Mage for the terror. And once again, same spells, healing and awakening to just harass raiders, kill stuff. Now with Tzeentch Great Weapons, I cut the Silver Helms. I still keep the Reaver Archers. They're great. I just practiced this matchup against him recently. And I am shocked that I didn't save the build to oppose that.
Stingers. A wide archer line's not going to work. Also stingers. What if I get a bunch of archers?
Well, no. Only 2. I remember the 2 Silverin. I have no idea what I did with this other gold. I think I had some Illyrian Reavers in there, but like, I think they did poorly. Actually, no, I definitely had 3 Illyrian. Never mind. Yep, that was it. This is it right here.
8 Illyrian Reavers. Trying to take down the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, the Tzeentch Great Weapons are a really great addition to this matchup because it makes it harder to go heavy cav, and their barrier makes it so that, like, usually you just trade with the Beastmen, and your light cav kind of beats up on their light cav as their light cav beats up on yours. But with that barrier, the Tzeentch ones demolish anything on the charge, and then they don't really take too much damage. So you have to play careful with it, but when Tim and I were playing this, if I played it cagey and boxy around my spears, then I would win. But as soon as I overextended my dragon or overextended my Reaver Archers and Reavers, I would get rolled up.
RTK. I can't figure out this matchup. Turns to their second worst member. Hey Tim, let me just beat you up 6 or 7 times to learn it. That's fucked up, dude. You can't just do that to Tim. No, Tim's very good. For anybody who didn't know that context,
he's been practicing a lot too.
Yeah, he's real good. All right.
So I prefer the Silverin. I think they are better than the Light Spear because the Light Spear will take a lot of damage on a rear charge. But I've seen a lot of builds with very wide Spearman builds as well. And if you pair that with Reaver Archers, I think you're going to be pretty safe against the triple SEB.
Then we'll wrap it up with something a little less stressful, hopefully. Nurgle. Out of the gutters. Nurgle's not trash anymore, but they're mid-tier. I'd say they're below High Elves. So hopefully it's a little easier to deal with the Dark Elves or Beastmen, but how would you deal with new and improved Nurgle?
So Nurgle's been a little scary, because with the Furies being so strong, I used to have a sister box But now Furies just kind of murk any box. They'll just drop in and kill the sisters before you can get a rear charge in to kill them, and then even then they hang around and get their value back. So I like to go Dragon Imric with Dragon Horn, and sometimes if I'm expecting Chaos Knights, I will bring Lord of the Dragons. But and then I like to go a cheap front line of spears for toads or for chaff. Like if you use the charge reflection ability, they actually trade up into a lot of chaff. It's kind of obnoxious because a spell or a charge or anything can change that interaction, and it takes a long time for them to win the fight, but usually if a Marauder just charges into them and they get their charge reflection, they will win.
You know, it's funny. We were joking before I hit record about Rangers, where I was like, what matchups do you take Spearmen or versus like Rangers, you know, because Rangers never. And it's so true.
Yeah.
Rangers are so bad.
They're in the pits. You look at other factions and they're like their second cheapest chaff is just another unit of like, oh, they get a spear and a sword. High elves, no, they gotta pay 600 for like a mid dual weapon. I'm like, come on.
30 armor, 28-24 for melee stats. Sure, they have martial prowess, but I mean, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't get them far.
No.
I do have some niches for them. I love them rush. I love them in rush builds against armored factions. Actually, their
Interesting.
AP split allows them to beat a wounded Jade Warrior or a wounded Dwarf Warrior. So, what I like to do versus Dwarves and Grand Cathay is I will rush with White Lions and then a couple Rangers to get some more bodies on there and start enveloping.
This is
And they do
getting
that role okay.
this is getting off topic, but real quick, I like them versus Vampire Coast actually, because their spread formation they take less damage from bombers on the charge, and then if they're already in melee, then their 20% physical resistance helps. And I've just noticed that Spearmen like they'll hold forever, but the Coast doesn't care. Either they
Yeah,
brought
Coast wants
mass,
the engagement to take a long time.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, Rangers actually do okay. So that's one matchup I take them is Coast. I take like 3, so it's not it's not a ton. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry for distracting. How dare I?
So, finish it out. I go just a simple life mage on foot because we all love our tanky high elf mages with like 40 melee defense.
Yep. Yep.
And then I like to bring some fire damage with the Fireborn to mitigate healing. And I love the Talons and Fireborn combo. I really loved it when Imric used to do fire damage and he could also apply fire weakness. It's a shame that he does not. But
Yeah.
I haven't played this one since the new patch. So it is a little bit hard for me to finish it out. But I think you can't go wrong with Dragon Princes because you need to deal with the Chaos Knights somehow. I think they are like any Chaos faction can rely on their Chaos pretty well. Like
Nalnish had him in every single build he proposed.
yeah, they are a solid unit. They cost the same as Dragon Princes, and the Chaos factions usually have an AP piece to support their Chaos Knight, versus High Elves do not have their AP piece to support their Dragon Princes. So I always, I go to make sure that I can support that fight and try to win it, but I usually need a Spearman in there as well. And then basic archer and a
Ranger. Oh.
and a 4th Reaver Archer to really skirmish and draw out the fight. Fun fact for any of you new High Elf players, a lot of people don't know, but against a Chaos faction like Nurgle, they love to bring Chaos Warhounds. Don't run away from those. Charge those things right back with your Reavers. Your Reavers will kick them right into the next stage.
You're not wrong. Did you see my stream recently? The new player stream?
Yep. Yeah.
Did you see my Wood Elf calves around?
Yes.
How did I lose?
I don't know.
How did I lose?
You have the best luck with when it comes to finding the most ridiculous aspects of the game and getting it on camera.
That was crazy. For anybody who hasn't seen the stream, basically I baited a Marauder Horseman throwing X's and a dog to chase a Wood Elf Glade Rider with their arrows. But then I turned around and charged them, and I rear charged them with a second one, and my Glade Riders lost to the Skirmish Cav and dog combo. But then in testing right afterwards, they slammed it. And it's like, what? Wait. What? How did you lose it so bad in the real game, but in testing you just murdered these fools? I don't know. It's fine. Elves suck, and that's fine. All of them are trash, none of them are any good. Says the Skaven main. Well, I made myself sad. Anything else? Anything else you have to say?
No, not much. I think High Elves are in a great spot in land battles. I've been having a lot of fun playing them. And the other thing to remember is High Elves they have a lot of different styles. So if your style wasn't up here, I would keep giving it a chance. I have a very specific weird style as well, and their builds can vary so much on matchup to matchup and even style to style within a matchup. So that's one of their strengths, is they have all these cool different ways to play. Like, I never go for triple SE, but High Elves can do a pretty good triple SE build as well. So there's lots of different ways to play them, and yeah, they're just clearly the best faction. I mean, look at this sword map. How can you not love that?
They're really cool. Swordmasters are really cool.
In RTK, I am called the Swordmaster Salesman because I'm always trying to find ways to get them in my build. But
Warriors of Chaos, it's a good matchup for them.
I love them in Warriors of Chaos. I just get rid of the Hell Cannon and then they feast. Perfect.
Dude, you know what's fucked up? I'm gonna do one of these videos where I go through 3 builds. And I'm so depressed on Skaven right now, I'm gonna be a Greenskin main. I'm not even gonna do Skaven builds because I'm like, I don't know. If it's a good matchup, just do this, but 18 out of the 24 matchups are dog shit, so just don't play Skaven.
Literally.
It's so bad.
I feel like the fact that the High Elf Skaven matchup has sort of flipped around and High Elves can fight that's how you know Skaven are having a tough time in the game right now.
They are, and it's like, the hard part is people will point out to me like 6 or 7 or 8 matchups where Skaven can do well, and that's true. But the problem is they're just so counterpick that it's like, your opponent needs to pick first. They need to pick something that's weak to Skaven, and then not ban it. And then, yeah, you'll do fine, but that's such a weird specific scenario. I don't know. Shit sucks. High Elves are fun. I've actually been playing them. Some people... Well, okay. This complete side question. How do you feel about High Elves Ogre Kingdoms? Because as the High Elves, I feel like that shit is unplayable, and people keep insisting. They're like, oh, Ogres is really strong here. Are you sure you want to do that? And I go, no, I'm good. And then they'll pick Ogres and they'll die in like 10 seconds and leave the lobby. And I'm like, well, yeah. this shit's easy for the High Elves. I just go with, like...
actually, I heard you say that on our stream when we were playing, like after I watched our match on your, when I got time to watch the stream.
Yeah.
And so I haven't played it this patch, and there's been a couple key changes that may have changed it, like the Ogre Bulls getting their charge damage reduced because of the knockdown changes being reverted and them getting slight nerfs was pretty big, I think, for the map. But in terms of, and the constant, nerfs, Sky Striders and Crusher.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, I still so I've played it on the High Elf side and won, and I've played it on the Ogre Kingdom side and won. So I think it's kind of even, but if I was to pick one, I'm Lead Belcher kiting and Rhinox, and crushing the high elves all day. Like I find it so annoying to deal with crushers and with backed up by Lead Belchers with a front line of Nobblers. It drives me bonkers.
Maybe. I go 8 archers. I go 5 regular archers, 3 Leathern Sea Guard, unshielded. And then I think like some spears in the front line, a net caster with Shem's Burning Gaze as the other spell. I think I take her just on horse so that she can get in position to net some stuff. And then if you have any money left, I grab either Dragon Princes or Legion Reavers just to chase down things. And like, it's just this ominous walking music where the Isengard theme from Lord of the Rings is playing as we just walk at the ogres and they,
into the into the ogre tide.
yeah, they're like,
or
"Wait,
actually the ogre kite force, but yeah.
what do we do?" So far, actually, I haven't fought Kite yet, but I have beaten rushes where it's like, I will overcast net one flank, and then I'll have all my archers shoot the flank that isn't netted,
Mm-hmm.
and then like it just breaks their, the charge is now uncoordinated and awkward. So one half is fighting my whole army, while the other half is netted. And I don't know.
Yeah, that's why this patch was pretty big for this matchup, because before it was obnoxious because ogres could rush you or kite you. I think with the knockdown changes, like you said, like high elves will beat that. They'll beat it right down and send it right back home.
Okay.
The kite, I've managed to win it from the high elf side as the kite. I bring a wide build as well, but it still feels really big. Like I've tried like Lord sniping with Spirit Leech, and then I've tried having Phoenixes to harass the Lead Belchers and keep them offline, and I get so close to winning. They just like the Crushers just run over my entire arm.
Yeah.
It drives me wrong.
But why should I listen to you? I am a far better player. I've never lost to you. Name one time. Name one fucking time you beat me. That didn't end in Skaven Kislev because I trusted my Discord chat and they were so wrong. That was annoying. Game 1, pretty close. I win it. Cool. Game 2, pretty close. I lose it. Alright, Game 3. I don't know what to pick here. Someone said Skaven Kislev is good. Oh, wow. It is not. Oh, fuck.
They led you so astray there. So astray.
Game 3, you just dominate me. Like, not even close.
I don't think you can have any chance there. Like high charge bonus, armor cap. It got better and worse, because before I used to bring 4 winged lances and it was really, really tough. But now I just bring 3 Griffin Legion. They do way more damage, so it still feels just as bad, but there's less of them to run you over at least. Like
Yeah, as we were playing that game, I'm
mass
like,
cav with the front line of our
I see all of his cav. Alright, I'm gonna Rat Ogres this one and knock him down, hold him to place while I globe this other one. Oh, there's a third. Okay, I have some dogs that I can throw at them just to stall. Oh, there's a fourth. Alright, other globes can try with that. Fifth. Alright, there's a sixth. There's a seventh. There's one in the Vanguard I didn't see. Never mind, fuck it. All of it's unbreakable, so they're in here.
Start opening up real quick as long as the Kislev player takes their time to do the surround. Like all you have to do is sacrifice one dervish, and the thing's committed from the back to go fix that. There's your hole right there every time.
I love that. I had a full health Giselle, and your dervish got. By the time it hit my Giselle, your dervish was under 1/4 HP, and you shattered the Giselle before Buyer Blood wore off, and I was like, feels fucking legit.
Yeah, what do Skaven do about that? I don't support. Because in the meantime, if you don't support your front line, armored Kossars are gonna walk right over them. So it's like, how do you handle all that? There's just no way.
So lose. Or if you go Death Runners, I've done that before. I had a sneaky Death Runner build, and then my opponent brought a 400 model count army with like literally just one Kossar archer to get him up to model count, but it was like the ROR Bears, the healer, Mother Ostankia with that spell before it was nerfed.
Oh, geesh. Yeah.
And then a bunch of cav. And I was like, there's no infantry. And all my Death Runners were just worthless and died. So it's so hard. Ugh. Anyway. Thank you so much for your time, sir. and you have an excellent Saturday night.
All right, thank you for having me.
Roar! Subscribe, yes, yes.